You know what? We're going to talk to one of the governors affected, like all of them, by what's happening at the southern border, and that is West Virginia Governor Jim Justice. Governor, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We're going to touch on a couple topics with you, but let's start with what's happening at the border, because you were one of 26 Republican governors who warned Joe Biden last month that the border crisis is impacting every state. Did you ever get an answer to that letter? Have you seen anything change?
No, I have never gotten an answer to the letter, and it's impacting all the states. I mean, in West Virginia, we've got all kinds of issues with crime and that's coming from this, but it's affecting everybody all across this nation, and it's a disaster. We all know that. But let me say this before I go any further. I thought, Pete, I said, my goodness gracious, surely to God above, you're not giving Rachel, on a belated birthday present, a portrait of Hunter Biden. I thought that's what it was. I said, oh, my God, no, please.
Oh, no.
That would be too much, Governor.
Yeah.
You're right.
No,
You're right.
I got the spitball version of the painting.
Governor, we want to pick back up. It's so funny. Talk about how the drugs are impacting your state. I know the fentanyl deaths is hitting all the states in the country. We know that the cops that are searching these folks are getting just a whiff of it, and they're dropping like a rock. Talk about that.
Well, to be perfectly honest, what we've seen is we have seen an immediate uptick from the standpoint of deaths coming from drugs, and it is a direct correlation with what is happening at the border. Now, just imagine how far we are from the border, and a lot of people would think, well, we're protected and everything, but we have seen an immediate uptick. We all know what's going on. I mean, there's drugs coming across that border like crazy and everything, and they're killing our people. And why in the world we're doing this, I could never know.
Governor, one of the reasons people turn to drugs is hopelessness. And one of the ways to make people feel more hopeful about life is giving them a job, the dignity that comes with a job. And we see now with the Biden administration, these vaccine mandates that are actually making it harder for people to get back to work, or actually causing people who do have a job to want to leave their job. You're proposing a bill to require exemptions for the vaccine mandate. Tell us about what's going on in West Virginia.
Well, not only did I propose the bill, but we passed the bill. And so, effective January 1, that's not going to be permitted in West Virginia without the exemptions for medical and religious. And so, I think our employers are backing away from that, and I'm all for, just like I'm sure you guys are, I'm all for everyone getting vaccinated and everything, but I'm not for doing away with our freedoms. I mean, for crying out loud, the very foundation of this country. And so there are people that believe certain things, and we should be respectful of that, and we should be absolutely loving neighbors. We should not be mandating things on one another. I mean, this country's never been that way, and we should never go there.
So, Governor, I'm so sorry. What is the consequence, though, when businesses don't follow that executive order? Because we see a lot of Republican governors doing this, but respectfully, does it have enough teeth to hold those businesses accountable when they impede those rights?
Well, I don't think we've gotten to that, at this point in time in West Virginia, but I don't think you'll see that. I really do not think you'll see that at all in West Virginia. We have held together in West Virginia and led the nation in this pandemic in a lot of ways. And the only way we've done it is we've all held together and pulled the rope together. And you mentioned unemployment. We hit a record history of all time in West Virginia unemployment rate just the other day at 3.2%. It's amazing what's going on in West Virginia. A lot of good stuff.
All right, Governor, there's maybe something else big happening in West Virginia. We've got to get your take on this, because 3 Republican counties in western Maryland want to leave Maryland and become a part of West Virginia. Now, we'll see how that process plays out, but they're the westernmost counties of Maryland. There they are right now on our screen: Garrett County, Allegheny County, and Washington County. Would West Virginia welcome them?
Absolutely. Absolutely, hands down. West Virginia will welcome any and all. But with all of that and everything, we all know that this is a difficult uphill or upstream climb, for these people, or a swim, but nevertheless, these people are unhappy. These people want to leave. Why wouldn't you want to come to West Virginia? I mean,
what
leading
is
the
the
nation in
process?
GDP growth.
What is
I'm
How do they
sorry?
do it? Yeah, how do they
I'm
do it?
so curious. Like, what's the process? What do these counties need to do to make this happen? You say it's an uphill battle, but what do they have to do?
Well, I think what has happened, and it's a process to where West Virginia accepts, Maryland agrees to let go, then the federal government agrees that that's okay, then they can come. And then there'll be a price tag where West Virginia will have to pay some level of restitution to Maryland over a prolonged period of time. But there is genuinely a pathway. You know, a long time ago, West Virginia was part of Virginia, and it migrated the way it migrated and everything. And there is a pathway here. This is not just a pie in the sky nothing. I mean, it's an upstream swim, that's for sure.
What are the
but
chances
nevertheless,
Governor, what are the chances of Maryland doing that, though, releasing these counties?
Well, like I said, it's probably not high,
Yeah.
but from that, I mean, there is a probability of just this. Now, just think for a second about this. These counties are a pain kind of in the backside of Maryland. If Maryland wants to go so blooming liberal and ridiculous, these counties are way more West Virginia type counties than they are Maryland type counties. And if Maryland wants to go completely off the chart and everything, I say let them go.
Baltimore might just say that too.
Yeah, they might.
Hey, let them go. Very interesting. You know, we don't. Sometimes we sit and think things have to be static the way they are. If something like this happens, look out Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon, and the inner parts of California as well. Governor Jim Justice, thank you so much for your time this morning, and just for being such a great guest. There might be a Hunter Biden painting in your future as well.
Oh, no,
see.
please, Lord, no. Don't do that
Lord,
to me.
no.
You can't. Lawrence, Rachel, and Pete, thank y'all for all you do.
Of
Thanks, Governor.
course. Take care.